Alright, look, I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. I don't have a video for this month. And it's not because I'm fucking lazy, it's because I misjudged the time. So I wanted to do Lightning Returns right after Final Fantasy VII like a smart person. However, I didn't realize that it was an RPG and not just any RPG, a fucking JRPG, and not just any JRPG, a fucking Final Fantasy game from Square Penis. So therefore, it was gonna take at least 60 hours of my time. But I fucked up. I waited till the month was half over to start playing the game again. By then, I was like, oh shit, I'm definitely not going to get this done, especially since I work at a summer camp. By the time I get home every day, I'm completely exhausted and way too mentally exhausted to play this fucking shit. Long story short, for right now, I've only played about 4 or 5 hours of the game, and I hate it. I honestly just hate the experience. It's terrible. But the thing is, the battle system, which was one of the worst parts of Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2, which was stripped down and not involved at all, it didn't really require the player to be paying any sort of attention. The battle system of Lightning Returns is so much better, and it's so close to being decent, but they just failed at it. I haven't played much, but I have to say, I loathe learning how this game works. I don't want to play the game, and I don't want to battle anything, because I just hate the way the battle system works. It's almost frustrating because they made the battle system better, but in making it better and falling so short from it being decent, I almost hate it more than the Final Fantasy 13 battle system. And I've seen what they can do because Final Fantasy 15 is fucking amazing. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, the best thing I can compare this battle system to, honestly, is Dark Souls. Unfortunately, though, I haven't played the Dark Souls series, but what I have played is Bloodborne, and honestly, I'm not even sure if I liked Bloodborne. When the game was fun, it was fucking fun, but when the game was frustrating, it was goddamn frustrating, and I have so many issues with Bloodborne, just on a purely technical and even aesthetic level. I don't think it's a perfect game, and I'm not even sure it's a game I would recommend. I know that's probably going to get me some backlash, but I will say this. Bloodborne does what it does far better than Lightning Returns does what it does. Lightning Returns really is cool and fun when it works. And it works when you have these cool moments where you guard just as the enemy's about to attack and you knock them back with a stagger or things like that. But they reintroduced the fucking stagger system. And oh my god, is it worse than it ever has been. What I wanted the stagger system to be in Final Fantasy 13 and beyond was a system where you cause more damage to the enemy as the battle goes along. So the enemy is getting weaker as you deal more damage to it. But instead, Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2 and now Lightning Returns has created this system where it's all too necessary to use the stagger gauge to defeat any significant enemy. Instead of having a system where it simply makes it easier to win if you've mastered the weaknesses of an enemy, you have to use the stagger gauge if you don't want the battle to take fucking hours. But the difference in this game is that they limited how much healing you can do. You can only have 5 slots of healing to begin with, and I'm sure you can upgrade this somehow, but it just doesn't work. I just fought this battle with Noel, and I died after 11 and a half minutes, and even after all that time, I'd only gotten his HP down to half. My character just wasn't doing enough damage, or Noel just had way too much HP, or something. The only time I could deal any significant damage to him was when he was staggered, and it took so long to stagger that in the 11 and a half minutes that I battled him, I only staggered him 6 times. What this really reminds me of is the DLC for Final Fantasy 15, the Prompto DLC and the Gladiolus DLC. I'm mainly talking about the Gladiolus one because that's the one I spend the most time with. That whole DLC felt like it was really trying to be Dark Souls. And you know what? The final battle managed to get it right. You have this cool looking boss fight and a system that's very focused on blocking, attacking, and parrying. The enemies can dodge, and the enemies have these very quick attacks that you can't always efficiently dodge out of the way of. You can't really tank them either, so your only choice is to block with expert timing or just try to stagger the enemy. And boy, when you do the bonus fight in the DLC, which I won't spoil here, it really feels like they captured the heart of what Bloodborne felt for me when I played through that. And I beat every boss in that game. Lightning Returns, though, just fails. And you know what? I actually did some fucking math. That was the sound of me dropping a book on my bed, which I realized without a visual aid was probably just fucking terrible as a joke. So the thing with Bloodborne was there wasn't a problem that I found that I couldn't just solve by leveling up. I had a lot of issues throughout the game, and that was actually one of them. I never felt like I was actually getting better, but I just kept leveling up my character until they could take more hits or something like that. On New Game Plus though, when you can't level up as much and the enemies spike damage so much more, that kind of got ameliorated. Although fuck Lawrence the First Vicar, that son of a bitch, kept killing me in like 2 hits on New Game Plus 7 to the point that I had to start a new character just to fight him on the base level without him fucking killing me in 2 hits, the son of a bitch. God damn it, I finally beat his ass and I got a platinum. Final Fantasy Lightning Returns made me do math. Fucking math. Math is for nerds. I'm not a nerd. But I ended up doing this math and figuring out how long it would have taken for me to kill Noel if I was dealing the maximum amount of damage I possibly could, which is actually impossible, which I'll talk about later. But just for number's sake, I'm gonna say this. I got the average amount of damage I was doing per stagger, and the average amount of damage I was doing normally. Then I also took the time of the battle, which was 11.5 minutes. So the average amount of damage I did per stagger was 858 hit points. And the average amount of damage I did normally was 269. I tallied up the amount of time Noel actually spent staggered and I was dealing damage to him, and that was 1.5 minutes, which it turns out is 13% of the battle, considering the battle lasted for 11.5 minutes. So if I'm doing staggered damage for 13% of the time, and I'm doing normal damage for 87% of the time, how long would it take for me to kill Noel? So let's say I'm doing 1 hit per second. Doing the calculations that I did, and I assure you that my math is incorrect somewhere, I would have done 161,640 damage to him while normal, and 77,300 damage to him while staggered, which is a total of 238,940 hit points, which is not enough to kill him in the 11.5 minutes that I had before I died. Doing some further calculations, I determined that that was 75% of the battle. So if I added another 25% onto that, it would have taken me 15 minutes to kill Noel if I was doing the absolute optimal amount of damage. But that, my friends, is impossible. That was the sound of me closing a book, which would have worked better if I had some sort of visual aid. Maybe I'll have one on the screen as I'm doing this. Anyway, 15 minutes of continual optimal damage is actually impossible in Final Fantasy Lightning Returns because of the ATB gauge. Not to mention, the game rewards you for parrying at the exact moment that an enemy is attacking you. And that means a lot of times I'm spending time just standing around waiting for him to attack so I can parry. Combine those two things, and I'm not accounting for in all my calculations all the downtime that there is. So honestly, it would take a lot longer than 15 minutes to kill him, but I only had 11.5 for the full battle before I died. Now my calculations are probably wrong. I don't account for the few seconds that I had the game pause when I was using Libra or using an item. However, I think it still stands that something is wrong here. Maybe I haven't leveled up enough, or maybe something is wrong that I could do to make the game better and make my character do more damage. But honestly, the game is just so convoluted that I just don't understand what's happening. And all that doesn't even count the fact that the game doesn't have a fucking level up system. So with traditional RPGs, there's a level up system that tells you at a glance how strong you are with relation to the enemy that you're fighting. Pokemon does this exceptionally well because it actually tells you the enemy's level right then and there once you start a battle. But in this game, there's no level up system. Not that I found anyway. And I could totally be wrong about this. But honestly, this game is so confusing to me, I just don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe there is a levels up system and I just haven't found it yet. I'm not sure. But I think what they were trying to do was make a totally gear-based system. Now, I've compared this game in the past to Final Fantasy X-2 because Final Fantasy X-2 also has the dress sphere system and all your stats are related to the different dress spheres that you use. But that game also had a level up system on top of it. So your character could get stronger and increase their baseline stats while the dress sphere tweaked their stats in various different ways. In Lightning Returns, I don't think there's a level up system. It's entirely gear based. And I don't want to spend the time doing all these side quests. Have you seen the menus in this game? In order to buy potions, you have to buy them one by one and fucking slot them into one of the 5 slots that you have, instead of just being able to buy 5 potions and have them automatically fill. What the fuck? And then the side quest selection screen is fucking stupid too. You have to manually go into each side quest, read it, and then select it and confirm that you're going to accept the quest, instead of just being able to accept multiple ones all at once, even though I don't think there's a limit on how many you can select. So why can't I just choose all of them and have them all active at once? Because this game is fucking confusing as all hell. And I'm not even talking about the storyline here. I don't like the storyline, but I think it's actually pretty simple so far. It's really just the actual mechanics of the game are all so fucking involved and convoluted that I can't even begin to wrap my head around them. And there are tutorials for everything, but they don't help. If you just start up a game like Bloodborne does and just have tutorials flung at you constantly, you're not going to commit any of that shit to memory. And Lightning Returns does that shit horribly wrong, especially since the battle system is such a huge departure from the other 2 games. And honestly, the worst offense that I've been having playing this game is that it's just so fundamentally fucking boring. The characters don't feel like characters, the world doesn't feel like a world, it all feels so contrived and just so fucking dull.
Hello there, stranger.
Hey.
Welcome to Canopus Farms.
Thanks.
My name's Garrett.
Alright.
Guess you could say I run things around here.
Okay. Why are you
What can we
talking
do
so
for you?
slow?
I've come to talk to your vet, Dr. Ghazal.
Is he around? Can you just tell me where he is?
You want to know about the Angel of Valhalla,
Yes,
right?
yes, I do.
Well, Dr. Ghazal's your man.
Okay, can you point me to
Yeah,
where he
well,
is?
that's what everyone tells me.
All right, can you point
He's
me to
been
where he is?
chasing that white chocobo for over
I know
a century
this.
now.
I know. Someone
No one
else
comes
already
close
told
to
me
his
this.
passion and expertise.
Someone else had told me this
That's all he cares
information
about
already.
since his daughter died.
Okay, his daughter
is
died.
it?
That's some interesting backstory. I wonder if it's going to
I
actually
shouldn't have said anything about his
factor
daughter.
into anything
It's not
in
a
the
secret or
future.
anything, but
Okay.
he really hates anybody talking about
Okay,
it.
his daughter's died.
The
and
doctor
he's-
first came out here with his
All right.
daughter.
Okay,
They
I
planned to
didn't-
learn about the legend together.
I didn't ask for any of this
But
backstory.
about a century
I
ago,
didn't
she
ask
was
for any.
killed while they were both out trekking chocobos.
Okay.
It was tragic.
All right,
The doctor
You're just
never
gonna
really
keep
told
talking.
the whole story of what happened.
you're just going to keep talking.
But after
All right.
that, he
Cool.
threw himself
No,
even
cool. I'll
deeper
just wait
into his
here.
research and work.
I'm just going to wait
Soon
here.
that was all
Yep.
he cared about.
No,
But listen,
yeah, it's not like I wanted to
promise me
play a
one
game
thing,
or anything.
okay?
Well, yeah,
I
I'll
won't
promise
let on
you
that
if
you
you
told me.
shut the fuck
Don't
up.
worry.
Promise you
Thanks.
anything.
I'd appreciate it.
All right.
I mean, everyone around these
Oh my
parts knows
God,
the
he's
story,
still
of course,
talking.
But he wouldn't like it if
Why are
strangers started
you
asking
telling
about
me
his
this?
Past.
I-
Anyway,
you-
if you're interested in seeing the legendary
my
chocobo
God.
for yourself, Dr. Ghazal is the man you have to
You
talk
told
to.
me that at the
They
beginning
say
of the
he's seen the
conversation.
Angel of Valhalla more than a
Oh
few
my
times. At
fucking
least the
God, you're
chocobo
still
looks just like
talking.
it.
Why
Sounds
are
like
you
he
still
could help.
Yes, he
I
can
bet
help.
my
He's the
hunting
person
ball.
I've been looking for this whole time.
Well, may nature bless you.
All right. Thank you.
What do you mean?
Oh my God.
It's just
What?
a saying we have out here in the
I don't. You need to.
wildlands.
You don't need
It
to
means
explain
good luck.
every single thing about your existence. Thank fucking Christ. And now Hope has to say some shit. Now again, I am perfectly willing to accept that maybe I'm just not at the right level or something for this battle. However, the battle isn't hard. And let me be the first to say I have no issue with tough games. I've beaten Dragon Age Origins and Dragon Age Inquisition on Nightmare mode. I'm playing through Mass Effect 2 on Insanity, and some of the harder fights in Bloodborne were my favorites. I'm on record hating when enemies kill you in one hit. I just don't think it's fair. I didn't like it in Bloodborne, and I don't like it in Final Fantasy. Unless, of course, the game is trying to send you a signal that you're not strong enough for a particular battle. But with this Noel fight, he's not doing any more damage than a standard enemy that I fought a billion times before. I don't feel like he's so strong that I can't possibly defeat him. So if the game is trying to tell me that I'm not strong enough for this battle, it's doing a really poor job at it. In any case, I don't know if I'll be done with Lightning Returns by next month, especially long enough to make a video for it. There are a couple of other games I wanted to get to, so I might just keep playing through Lightning Returns and then put the video for it on the back burner while I work on some other stuff. But boy, am I not looking forward to this one.